How's it going, guys? I cannot believe drama continues to pervade our tendy diamond-handed fingers because we have an important update from the person that said that the DD that Josh, our friend of the show, Hey It's Pixel, said created on Sunday is not true. This is very scary. March 19th is not likely to be the liftoff, and this has now been edited for updates and clarifications. First off, a big thank you to everyone who had the resilience to read the first post. It was a lot of naysaying about Josh's research, and it did shake a lot of bones. As of right now, we're looking at GME. It is down 2%, and it is after hitting a high of 130 today. That is disheartening as we only have 4 more minutes left in the stonk market before after hours. They feel like some of what he wrote, Ankrit Stone says, warrants clarification, and there is one big assumption that he made, the user pointed out, only took account of half the picture. His comment has prompted me to post this update. So this is going to be just the general part of exactly what kind of edits into the following sections and clearly identified them to save anyone the ordeal of having to read the whole thing again. Thank you so much. That did take 30 minutes to read the first time. The uptick rule. They think they misunderstood Josh on this one and caused a lot of unnecessary confusion. 2, how an ETF works in relating to its underlying holdings. 3, the AI prediction, important. Brendan Burns, how's it going? My wife's boyfriend is so very happy you're all integrating anecdotal hypotheticals coupled with as many data guys integrating equals best weapon versus the Gregs. You boys rule. Love the swagger. Plus Matt's duck shirt equals to the moon. Thank you, Uncle B. I appreciate that a lot. The AI predictions. 4, how I think the shorts are using the ETFs. 5, the MOASA, important update here. And 6, the earnings report. 7, my thoughts about the shorts passing the buck to others. Okay, so please skip those bits if that is all you are interested in. Before I get them myself, there are some points I would like to make in response to the comments I've had. I've read every single comment replying to the post itself and every direct response to a comment I have made, as well as anything. Wow, this person's really put in the time. So we want to treat this person as a person who challenged Josh in a constructive way and now is trying to make sure that he is leaving the space in a reputable way. So this is people who are asking for too long didn't read. Well, that's what the title was. Can't really go to a middle point between the title and the full text. Sorry. I have no issue if anyone wants to do an abridged version and post it for themselves. Okay, so people also have said, to those who think that advocating day trading, I am not. I'm not advocating anything. I am personally diamond handing this booch, and that's just me. You don't don't need me to show you that the market is rising and falling. Anyone can see that for yourselves. You can no more predict a rise or a fall than I can shisa out of my mouth. Okay, now that you got it, no financial advice in this video. Let's go into this update of why Ankrit Stone now is taking a couple of things back, or at least clarifying a couple of points he made with the counter DD from yesterday. So people still more thanking. The only exception I made was for those asking me for advice on how I think certain things will happen. Please, I'm no expert. I read the post by Josh and felt his logic was flawed and people might mistakenly put their faith in his prediction. The reason why I wrote my own post was to try and curb any loss of faith if March 19th isn't liftoff. This is important. I mentioned this during my analysis and explanation of his DD, but March 19th, if it isn't liftoff, it shouldn't be either of these guys' faults, because at the most important part, the squeeze, if you believe it in your heart, will happen, and you shouldn't be scared if it ends up being that this is not the correct date because there were too many coincidences at the same time. So let's keep looking through his thoughts. And now, it is never his intention to undermine Josh or anyone else. I think he has done some really good analysis and his voice is one worth listening to. He clearly puts a lot of effort into creating his post and gives us the benefit of his thoughts for free. As with any DD posted around here, it is up to each of us to decide how much value we give to those thoughts and to decide if we come to the same conclusions. Honestly, these guys both sound very, very cool. And hey, if you're Ankrit Stone, go ahead and drop me a message, because I do want you to jump on the show and talk to Josh personally whenever Josh comes back from his German vacation, of course. Let's go and read his updates. So this is the same stuff that we saw before. And now we're going to the first edit, rabbit hole part 1. You have misunderstood the application of the SHO rule 201. It is not a drop of 10% in the trading day that triggers the uptick rule. It is a drop of 10% from the previous day's close that triggers it. This is what originally he said, trying to correct a lawyer, even though Josh is a lawyer. Edit, my bad. Wow, there is nothing in the original post that says he got the application of the rule wrong, and having reread it, I now understand that I misunderstood. I was thrown by the graphic where he has underlined the opening price and the day high and mistakenly thought he believed the uptick rule applied based on the opening price. To be fair, he does not say or even imply this in his text, and I have jumped to this conclusion on my own. As I said originally, it does not make any difference to the outcome of his analysis, so why even mention it in my original post? Well, he was afraid that people would misunderstand the application of the rule and assume shenanigans where there are none. For example, thinking about what the uptick rule should have applied on 25th of February, where the stock opened at 169.56 and it fell to a low of 101 during the trading day. I apologize profusely for breeding completely unnecessary confusion. Amazing. He has already taken back something. It seems like we have just been 2 minutes into after hours. The chat is going stoked, and we have made it down to $118 closing price on GME with only 2% down on the day. Honestly, that is not bad, especially maybe it was due directly to this post being updated. So Ankrit Stone, let's look at it again. Next edit, it looks like rabbit hole part 2. There's no edit here. Rabbit hole part 3, there is no edit here. Rabbit hole part 3 part 2, no edits yet. And here at rabbit hole part 4, XRT holdings of GME did not increase, and this is important. I even went on Matt Core's show to talk about this point that Ankrit Stone made. Edit additional information. People have asked how an ETF works relative to the underlying. He posted a comment here explaining why the value of GME in the ETF changed. It was originally written a few weeks ago in response to work being done by this user, and so is a little outdated in terms of values quoted, as things have changed since then, but the essence remains correct. Okay, so he doesn't take back this part in which he says that Josh was incorrect to say that XRT holdings in GME increased. Okay, so there we go. I guess he's holding tight onto some of them. Here is the AI prediction. He dug into this AI prediction pretty hard. I agreed with him for the most part. Edit additional information. Thank you to the user who started the conversation with this comment. He kindly gave me links to the AI model and an explanation by another person who has commented on the confidence interval. In short, the model predicts that there is a greater than 50% chance that GME will not even reach the heady heights of the January spike ever again. Never even 50% chance that GME won't even reach the 400, 500 range ever again. The model takes no account of the short interest, the amount of naked shares of GME out there, and the activities being hidden in the ETFs. It simply predicts what the price will be based on absolutely normal trading conditions and price data. Believe what you will, but believe in this model at your own peril. I'm just going to tell you right now, as a data scientist, I don't believe in this model. It doesn't take in a lot of the most important information that I've covered on this channel. So I would say just ignore the model entirely. Just ignore the AI model. It is a model, if you guys don't have any context, that predicted that there's a chance that GME will reach 130,000 when the squeeze squeezes, and there's also apparently a greater than 50% chance that GME won't even go back to 300, 400, or 500. So the model is worthless. Let's not talk about it anymore. Okay, so XRT is a rebalance day. Let's see if he edits this. This is when he talks about how it could be the mother of all short attacks instead. March 19th could actually turn out to be the day of the Moasa instead of the MOAS. So this doesn't seem like it has an edit until here. This is the one that generated the most discussion, so you had to resort to pretty much copy and paste responses. Most people are under the belief that in order to cover their shorts in an ETF, they have to first purchase GME. I don't believe this to be true. Please check out their comments beginning at blankety blank. The Moasa controversy. A lot of people thought that they were bullish because they could see a bad day in their future. Let me be clear, a lot of us are in the dark here. I'm heading along the same road as you. And if I see a big hole in the road, I'm going to let you guys know about it so that we can, if we can't go around it, we at least expect a bumpy ride. This is your captain here, and we are expecting turbulence. Maybe it was unwise to call it Moasa because of the obvious similarity to MOAS. The intelligent predictions are that the MOAS will last days, if not weeks. And we covered this as well in a previous live stream of how long will the squeeze actually happen and can you miss it. To my mind, a short attack is an artificial manifestation of negative sentiment. What do I mean by this? A short sale gives the impression that people holding GME long are deciding to liquidate their positions. A short attack gives the impression that investors are doing this en masse, causing the stock price to tumble. The effect of having a shiza ton of GME released onto the market in one go would have the same effect as a short attack because it is not true negative sentiment, just a byproduct of balancing the books. The GME might not even make it to the market because I suspect that what the ETFs are holding at the moment is naked longs of GME, and so when the GME is purged from the ETF holdings, it will just be used by the AP to close their naked positions. The Moasa B-Bomb. Thanks to the user who wrinkled their brain with this comment. March 19th is rebalancing day and also quadruple witching day. GME might not be so needed in the ETFs that currently hold it, but if GME goes to the Russell 1000 index, then there could be great many more ETFs that will pick it up as part of their underlying assets. The good news, if this happens, no Moasa. The not so good news, the new ETFs for the shorts to hide in. Okay, so this is definitely completely different than when he mentioned before, because this shook me to the core. I got really big butterflies thinking about it. But it seems like too long didn't read. If the GME goes on the Russell 1000 index, a lot of ETFs will pick it up. So now there are more hiding places, more crawl spaces for GME to hide under. But then if that also happens, no mother of all short attacks. Okay, take a deep breath. Make sure to smash that like button for all of these revelations on this channel as people continue to do research. Remember, this might not even be the final way. Might not be the final place to rest your laurels in terms of your research. I always recommend doing your own DD. We are parsing through the edits of one person who said that Josh Hayes Pixel is wrong. Now he is updating his sentiment and making a couple of clarifications. Okay, massive chain options, we covered this yesterday. No edit here. Okay, so that one he still stands by. Quadruple witching day, he's still going to stand by this. GameStop Q4 earnings are released 4 days after March 19th. This one was pretty obtuse. He said that you'd be might as well include the fact that Ryan Cohen has the staff of GameStop looking for the cure for cancer and expects to find them on March 23rd. Pretty mean. Let's see how he edits. Many people are commented that prices often swell in the run-up to earnings reports and dip afterwards, buying the rumor and selling the news. Hey, it's like he watches the show or watches Bruce Wangan or watches Matt Kors. This is the financial YouTuber saying here. Okay, I'll accept that if others say it is a common occurrence. I would hedge that comment by saying that GME is not in any way a usual stock these days. That's fair. You guys know this. I would also say that if the anticipation of the earnings report is enough to build the upper momentum, then by that same logic, the dip that comes from the actual earnings report may be the brakes that stop the squeeze. Okie dokie. Let's see if he changes anything about 7. No, this is still, oh yes, there is. So his 7 is that, excuse me. So Josh is saying that if the price continues to rise, a lot of contracts will be in the money. He makes it completely clear that this is basically not saying enough, or personally, the attack that I felt was that he was basically saying that Josh is not saying anything. He even brought the Nazis involved somehow. Edit additional information. Quite a few people sent me the link to Uncle Bruce's recent YouTube video. Hey, check out the Stock Symposium collaboration that we'll have in the future where he discusses a very similar situation. Now, this guy seems like he really knows his shisa. I can explain it in a way that really engages. I think there are broad agreement that the gamma squeeze is coming first, followed by the MOAS. What I did was in the original post, see a shadow and imagine a monster lurking there. Uncle Bruce sees the monster in his gruesome glory. I actually feel better having seen the video though. The more I understand the situation, the less there is to fear. If the shorts see this opportunity for making money and closing their positions, imagine the opportunities that the hedge funds going long will see. If they bought 2 million shares in the way Uncle Bruce describes in his video, not only would they squeeze Chicago, they'll also squeeze the shorts. I'll also include the link to Uncle Bruce's video down below so you guys can see for yourself. If the shorts are able to see this opportunity, then I've no doubt the hedge fund going long will be able to see it as well. And if Chicago becomes a bag holder along with the shorts, then that doesn't really help the shorts much, because all Chicago have done is add to the problem by selling all those naked call options. Moving on from Uncle Bruce, one very helpful person pointed out that it is a very ethnocentric of this person to say that the rest of the world united against the Axis powers. It's a very valid point. Yeah, please try not to bring up the Nazis in any rhetorical argument. And only the Allied forces united against the Axis powers. The Allied forces were not by a stretch the rest of the world, and they humbly beg the forgiveness of the rest of the world for overlooking you. Someone else pointed out the analogy, retail is the equivalent of Nazis. This is an unfortunate unintended consequence of their analogy. To be clear, they think that retail is the only good guys in this game, and deep down, even we are just in it for the tendies. Okay, I guess he put Nazis into this situation. He's taking it out. Good on you, I suppose. And that is it. That is it. That is what he is willing to say was wrong about his interpretation of Josh's DD, and some clarifications after much needed proofreading, a much needed deliberation, and much needed comment reply chains going back and forth. So what do you think? If you were on Gridstone, what would you say to Josh? And if you were Josh, taking your beautiful vacation with your wife and your wife's boyfriend, what would you think beyond that? Do you feel justified? Do you feel vindicated? If you think about the stonk as of right now, it is getting scarier and scarier to tell truth from reality. Right now, we are seeing the after hours plummet 1%, and I plummet, I say just a small dip of 1%. So GameStop is supposedly losing steam thanks to these other distractions, and thanks to all the different ways to FOMO your way out of being a diamond-handed ape. If you ever needed resolve, if you ever needed hopium or copium, Andrew Mo Money is here for you. Professor Meatball is here for you. Drop your Meatball sub down in the description below. Make sure to grab the subscribe button, hit that bell button so you don't miss out on a single live stream, because we are continuing to cover this story as it unfolds. Nothing is ever set in stone, so make sure to do your own research. None of this is financial advice, so make sure to do your own research. And for now, but not for forever, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.